Right. Well, we're live. We're live on Facebook. I think we should just go ahead and have a conversation, even if it's one that you and I have. It's okay because I
Sure.
think I know people get value. I actually hear from people that, wow, I'd love to be part of that, or I said jump in. But there are people that watch us on Facebook, so thank you for watching, and reach out to Earlier I if you have questions about leadership or if you have questions about business. We're here to share, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Knowledge is power, and the more you share, the more you flourish.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to recap a bit where we have gone through, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're at the point in the book that we start talking about netting $1 million.
Right.
And netting $1 million is not something easily done. And especially if we're just talking about only the real estate sales, right? A lot of people that we network with, Orly, you and I, and Patty, our circles, we have people that net $1 million, but from multiple streams of income. So
correct. So we're talking about real estate transactions alone.
Yeah. Thank you, Patty.
You're welcome.
So we are specifically talking about netting $1 million just through real estate. And yes, I would say in some markets where your average price is $3 million, maybe a smaller team can do it, but most likely we are talking about an organization.
Correct.
Did you say something about 10 million?
No.
Somebody's netting 10 million. I want to meet that person.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's something, Patty. Ben Kinney, not last year, but the year before, his company's made $25 million in GCI.
Wow.
So if we take that to the model, he would have, with the 40% net, $10 million.
Right.
Oh my God.
If the business is in model, which I'm sure it's in the model that's working for Ben to get to 25 million in GCI.
Totally.
Wow. And that's GCI. That's not rental income. That's not profit share. That's not owner income.
Right. Exactly what we're saying is like our circles, we know, and we have, and some of us are netting $1 million annually with multiple streams.
Mm-hmm.
217 talks about, and as we move into this part of the book, it's really about netting $1 million from real estate sales. And we are blessed because we have such a nice price point.
Yeah, we are. I love the quote on the top of the page. All things are difficult before they're easy. That speaks to me very much so. That's up to you. I'm vaccinated.
Okay, I'm cool.
I'm doing this for you.
I like the quote on the next page. When I get clear, I lose my fear.
When I at the top, when I get clear, I lose my fear.
That's true.
Because there is a lot of fear, and some of it is fear of success.
Yeah, or like, here's what I think I see more often, because now we're talking about a business that most likely got to 40 million, right? 40 million is going to gross $1 million about.
Right.
And now we're talking about it's at 100 million, it's at it's 200 million. So when we talk about that, here's what happens. You have other people that come into your business. Now you're responsible for them.
You're responsible.
And are you really the leader that's going to help them get what they want out of the business? Now, this is so important because I was just talking to somebody that we all know, and like, I'm not the leader. I'm not the coach. I'm not the mentor. I mean, I can mentor, I can show, but I'm not the coach. Like, I'm not the leader. I need director of ops.
Okay.
Right. So if your talent is to run out there and go get listings and just keep bringing in the inventory, you probably will need somebody that's a director of ops to manage the people and to lead the people.
And the systems.
So talent, what's that book called? Like, talent is overrated, or talent is not enough?
Talent's not enough.
Talent's overrated.
Yeah.
Talent's not enough. It's just not.
It's true. It is overrated too. You should write that book.
I feel like it's a book. Okay. So
I get to see this MREA book that Mary Beth has, and it is one step above a rag.
Well, Orly hooked me up. She hooked me up. I actually have something going on. You'll see it like in the next couple weeks. She got me a really beautiful like holder for the book,
Oh,
but we have to do stuff to the book before it can go in the holder.
okay.
Okay, so going back to 217 for a second, I do have this highlighted. It says the first paragraph, the thought of big success is exciting. The thought of challenges that might be encountered along the way to big success can be frightening, right? Which we just talked about. Frankly, even paralyzing. Interestingly enough, for many people, it's quite possibly this fear of the unknown that sometimes holds them back. On our way to implementing your 4 business models, you will discover that things don't always go as planned. Understanding these models is one thing, successfully implementing them is another. So this chapter is about 16 issues that you're likely to face as you build and live within these models. In 219 is a great page, the issues in between earn and net, and we just spoke a little bit about those.
That's a great summary.
Orly, you're living it. Leads, listings, leverage, money, and you. Do you find that those are maybe not the issues, but the pillars of what you have to master in order to get these models working?
Absolutely. So it's getting into the right habits of lead generation, it's sustaining, it's the follow-up, it's the tracking of not only my business, but my buyer's agent's business. So you're not only accountable to yourself, but you're trying to make other people accountable to you as well at the same time.
Right.
This is kind of a great checklist if things aren't going, that you just go through here and say, okay, where is my opportunity?
There you go.
You know, and kind of do a checklist as a self-assessment, organizational assessment as to where the problem is, and then you can go from there. Got to identify the problem before you can address it.
Absolutely. This is actually a really good page, 219, for our top agents to have as a checklist. Anytime we're consulting with them, if there's an issue, it's probably going to fall in one of these pillars. And then if you could identify one of these numbers, you're like, okay, there it is. And then you can create an action plan. Like number 7, getting sellers to accept the team concept.
Yes, and other realtors.
And other realtors, yes. And sometimes the realtor who's on the team.
And sometimes yourself, when you're newly formulating the team, it's very difficult to let go, delegate, understand what your team is there for and what your role is. And because if you internalize that, just like a doctor, just like the example that Gary Keller gives us, understand that you're not there to put up the sign. You're not there to take their blood pressure. You're not there to mark down all their stats. You are the talent. You are just there to consult, negotiate, bring in the leads. That's it. Everything else can be delegated to somebody else.
And yet, as we spoke about yesterday, the depersonality, it tends to be one that wants to just
hold on to it, do it. I'll do it myself. I'll do it faster, quicker, better. I don't have time to train you. Like if you have that mindset, you have to change that.
Figure it out. It's the figure it out mentality, but you have to really want to empower other people.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's a really good point. And I have on the top here, help others. So we are helping others. The few that I have highlighted is number 3, protecting your lead generation focus time. That goes for the team members too. That goes for the realtor partners that you bring into your world. As we're talking about, are they lead generating or are they just expecting to see leads come at them? There is a cost to doing business. As I was talking to one of the top agents in the country the other day, we were discussing a lead given from a rainmaker to a buyer's agent, warm, or cultivated and hey, here's the appointment. So cultivated and here's the appointment. Orally, I need you to be there at 4 o'clock. Mr. and Mrs. Smith are already pre-approved. They're ready to go. Here's their criteria. And we've already set them up on the team search, automated search. Meet them at 4 o'clock. That appointment there's a cost behind the scenes to get the buyer to that point. And so sometimes I think what happens is there is a cost to that. If our team members are not going to prospect for their leads, then the team leader is providing it. And so when we're talking about the economic model and the cost of sale, as we got into a little bit more last week, I think our rainmakers really need to assess, like, is this a profit for me, for the team, for me to fund what has to happen in order for me to give those leads? And the buyer agents and the listing partners need to understand the time and effort and referrals and money that goes into getting that lead to that point.
Absolutely.
I think that's a really big challenge, because a lot of people that jump onto a team just expect that, well, that it just happens and I should just get these leads, and I go out and I sell, let's say 10 buyers this year. Well, if you were handed them, did you lead generate, or were you just an order taker? And so I guess as a rainmaker, you have to ask, are you just looking for order takers, or are you looking for leaders? And to Orly's point is that then those leaders, they will push you, they will press on you, they will make you be even more accountable to yourself than you maybe even wanted to. So you have to show up as a solid leader for those types of people. And that's when you get into the leverage. Recruit, train, consult, and keep. Once you bring people into your world, are you training and consulting? And is it sticky, where we do things of culture that people just like to be a part of it? Creating the teamwork with rock and roll. You need to be a role model. You need to be able to show, here, I'm going to show you how we do it. Let's do it together. Hey, you do it. Right? And budget model. Are you sticking to a budget model? Because the worst thing you can do is have all these people in your world and all these expenses. And I ask you, what's the profit margin? What are you taking home? And it's like, I don't even know. Let's look at that. That's dangerous zone.
Very dangerous.
Especially when you've got people whose futures depend on you. Okay, Cheryl's joining.
Yeah.
Us. Cheryl's going to stalk though, because she's got contractors at her house.
Yeah. And then the last one, I think 15 and 16 are probably the most important, is taking care of you. My coach always says when we're ending our call, take care of you, okay?
Oh. How long have you had this coach?
Oh, Deb Jolly. I've had her.
Have Deb?
Yeah, since I stepped into the role. So since August.
Okay.
Or September. But she's always telling me, hey, take care of you. What are you doing for you this week? And I love that, because if we don't, we will get burned out, right?
Totally.
And we will be resentful, and then we will shut down.
And then
Totally.
you can't give to
And
them.
we forget, because we are high-driven people, and it's go, 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 and more, and striving. But you have to really balance that with enough recharge. I mean, Friday is usually my real easy day. I start off the week very high energy, a lot of things to do on a Monday. I call it Monday madness. Everything off the weekend, multiple offers, blah, 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 lead gen. And then by Friday, I start with 9:30 yoga and something fun in the afternoon, and, just me day.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because you got a crazy weekend coming up, and that goes to number 16, is counterbalancing your life. So if many of you thought Orly is always on, like, how does she do all the units? She's telling you right now, she's taken off kind of on Fridays.
Absolutely.
She's giving that time back to herself to get the battery pack back up to full.
Right.
So guess what? It's showtime on Saturday. It's showtime on Sunday.
But it also circles back to empower others, because Orly can't do that if she, number one, doesn't have confidence in their skill and ability, and if they haven't grasped the responsibility given to them.
And if she hasn't trained them, it's going to be a hot mess.
Absolutely. So, if you have a good team, your business should be flowing and working on automatic pilot, whether or not you're there or not.
So let me ask you, you said automatic pilot. What are some things that you do, Orly, in the business to have it automatic for you? That's a leverage.
So the admin team is pretty much 90%, if not more, working on marketing. So I just have to approve things and that's it, or just email one idea that I just happen to have gotten and then do it. So that's automatic pilot. The transactional stuff, contracts coming in, sifting through 22 offers and then giving me the command summary page. That's it. I don't have to sift through 22 contracts. I mean, last Monday we had 3 different bidding wars, 22 offers, 8 offers, and 4 offers. How many contracts would I have had to look at? It took Lillian 2 hours just to go through the one that had 22 offers, 2 hours.
Oh my God.
So, and then vetting the mortgage. So a lot of that is taken off my plate. So I can then in the afternoon effortlessly just relay this to our sellers while I was doing
Awesome.
other things. So that's automatic pilot.
I would imagine though that you got to that point by training someone to look at it the way you look at it, no?
Correct. Absolutely. So I trained their eyes to look for what they need to look for. So I can get the summary and I don't have to sift through it.
So you have someone, you mentioned vetting the mortgage, doing the confirming
Yes.
that there is
Right. So
the
our
pre-approval
system
is
is,
tight.
yes, our system is the offers come in, we log them all in command so we can see them across the board. Obviously, we throw out all the weak ones. We get to the top 3 to 5, depending. And now the next question, so now she goes back to the ones that didn't get it, so they know that they didn't get it. So that's off our plate. So we're timely and courteous. Then she goes back to all the top offers, asking who's going to waive the appraisal. It's an automatic. We wait for that answer. Meanwhile, we take, and depending on those answers, now we're down to 2 or 3. And those 2 or 3 now get vetted with the mortgage people. So I've taught her the scripts to use with the mortgage people of what to ask. So now we know how strong these buyers are. And now we can go back to our sellers with all the information vetted.
I love that. I mean, if you're thinking about putting an offer on Orly's properties, obviously
You better
just
be
got
having tight.
you just got the concoction. And that is a solid system, especially in this market. I see agents driving themselves crazy.
Yeah.
And what does it do? It's not even that they drive themselves crazy. They actually occupy all of their lead generation time for new business, figuring out these multiple offers. And it's very busy, but it's not creating new
productive
business.
Not only that, but you are creating value for yourself. So when I go on a listing presentation, I tell them, it's wonderful that you're going to get multiple offers. However, you need to pick the right horse that's going to get us to the gate, because there's nothing worse than 3 or 4 weeks later, we all know we picked the wrong horse and now it's too late. So that's where my expertise comes in, to vet all of this. So we hopefully pick the right horse to get us to the closing table.
Orly, I have a question for you. Our real estate business that we do now isn't what we did 10 years ago, isn't what we did 5 years ago.
Correct.
So
isn't what we did 18 months ago.
That's true. Periodically, you must have team meetings where you address changes either in marketing, where you've taken the step more boldly into social media, and or what's going on with our financial environment. How often do you have meetings with your team to address
every Monday morning at 9:30? So at 9:30, I meet with my buyer's agents, and then at 9:45 the admin.
Every morning, that is?
Monday mornings.
Oh, Monday morning. Okay.
Monday mornings at 9:30, me and my buyer's agents, 3 of them, jump on a call. And then at 9:45, because that's about them and what their needs are and what's going on in the marketplace and keeping their morale up and their challenges. And then at 9:45, my admin staff jumps on the Zoom call. And then we discuss basically anything coming on the market. So everybody knows the new listings coming on this week. What are the challenges, if any issues anybody has? We also kind of regroup. How's the weekend? And then we go right into our top producer report. So Kathy, one of my admins, emails us on Fridays the top producer report, so we know the actives and we know everybody that's closing this week and where they are in the queue. So it's like I tell my sellers, it's like having 10 children. And there's going to be a time that you're going to be in that hurry up and wait period. There's nothing going on, but there's somebody that's getting ready to close and we have to be more attentive to them. So we know who needs our attention this week. And then that's it. It's delegated. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
Everybody does, follows up with the attorneys, the mortgages, what's going on, COs, follow up if they've done their COs. So everybody has their sheet.
Yeah. I love it. It's so important to have a Monday morning meeting with your team, regardless of what team you're running, to just get everybody. And you said it. You're like empowering everybody. to go off and do their task, but it's great for the whole to know what would be the value of even talking about, hey, what listings are coming on?
Get your buyers in line.
Well, yeah, you got buyer agents there that are working with clients that then you're matchmaking before it even comes on the market. And you just said creating value for your sellers, but now you're creating value for your buyers, that your buyer agents can say, you know, hey, we do have these 2 that are coming on. Love to know if you are interested. And they're getting a before the market kind of peak. So that's another value that you're presenting by just holding your team accountable and having that meeting.
And if you don't have a team, have a meeting with yourself. Seriously, on Monday morning, start the week. What does my week look like? What am I going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? I mean, have a routine and structure so you stay to it.
Yes. And I would just suggest for single agents, if it's not Monday morning, if it's Tuesday morning, if it's Sunday night, if it's whatever that anchored time is for you, to just like look at the schedule, know where you're headed, so that you can clearly, like we started in the beginning, when you know where you're going and you clear, you could just be more efficient, you could accomplish more. So, I mean, I've never gone into a week and had a successful week if I haven't looked at my schedule prior to entering into that week, because then you're driving around, you're getting ready, and you're thinking about what's going on Thursday because you already know what you have. So you're giving yourself some extra time to prepare for you to show up in the best version of you. So we go through on page 219, it states the 16, and if we go through the next 13 pages, 220 says sustaining a solid lead generation program that emphasizes marketing and consistently increasing the number of leads. So I think that's one of our biggest challenges in today's market is, are we lead generating? Are we truly the agents that are taking listings, things are happening so fast. If you've built a referral pipeline, you might be just getting those referrals. But then are you truly taking every opportunity? What missed opportunities are we seeing? Tons. That the circle prospecting is not happening. We're not calling into the neighborhood to see who else needs to list because 17 buyers didn't get this property. That is not happening enough. Also, what is not happening enough, we're not calling to the neighborhoods and letting them know, hey,
I mean, prices are listing, call around sale,
well, just even your farm, your geo farm, we are encouraging our agents to, but I think that we owe it to our communities to let them know, hey, here's what your opportunity might be, Mr. Potential Seller or Refinancer.
Just your database. I mean, yesterday I was waiting for a mortgage person to come into the office and just say hello to me. And while I was doing that, I was doing my July anniversary cards because I always like to stay a month or two ahead of myself. And as I'm going down the list, I don't know why, but this one person came into my mind of call. So I called her up. I didn't realize it was her work number. She works for a doctor. So I immediately got her cell phone number and we started to talk. And next thing you know, I said, you called me a couple of years ago. You didn't have enough equity. You now have the equity to do what you want, even if just refinancing. We had a great conversation. The mortgage guy walked in 10 minutes later and I handed him a lead. I said, here, pre-approve them or refinance them. You're welcome.
Yeah. You bring up, I love your story. The next one, tracking and converting leads. That's where I think there could be a real big hole for the less organized. It's one thing to lead generate and to even do it successfully, but how do you stay on top of those leads as the rainmaker? I can see how the buyer's agents would. They've got command. That's real easy. But, and even if command is set up as a team, that's I see as a real problem.
Well, I consult with a lot of agents, and as you are meeting people, and I'm sure, Orly, you have a system for this, but as you're meeting people, we need to be putting them in the pipeline, the opportunity tool inside Command. Yes. Because if you've had the conversation and they're getting pre-approved, or we talked about potentially listing, put them in that pipeline so that you can revisit. As Colleen Kossoff, the team leader here in Woodcliff Lake, she would always say, go shopping in your pipeline. Go shopping in your pipeline, because every week you should be revisiting that pipeline. Hey, who on here needs a conversation from me, or we need to take an action step to move them closer to actually setting the appointment or listing their property. So what I find is when we do get busy, even leaders also.
Mm-hmm.
You know, empty the pocketbook, empty the pockets, empty all the notebooks and the little pieces of paper, because we were running so fast that we didn't put, you know, the Macy's tag that I met somebody and I put their little phone number on my Macy's tag.
Realtors going to have visions realtors going through the garbage looking for that.
Exactly. That's why I have a notebook everywhere, right in my console of my car.
Yep.
In my bag and everywhere. In fact, I got a lead the other day. I went on a listing appointment yesterday and they told me, we're not ready. My wife's the teacher 2 years from now, blah, blah, blah. I said, that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's just talk. And I immediately this morning scanned that to my assistant. It's going to be in command probably 9 o'clock this morning. And she occasionally, this is where you have a good admin, will say to me, what happened with this CMA you did? What happened with that one? So she kind of jogs me like, where are they? I go, oh, you know, they're not ready for a while, but thank you. Thank you. I'll just call them up and say,
and that would go back to like the org chart, the org model in the beginning, where we're talking about cul-de-sac talent versus true talent. Cul-de-sac talent would have just taken that sheet, put it in command and just said, well, that's all you asked me to do.
Yeah.
She's going like, wait, but there's money in that sheet. And Orly, wait, hold on, Orly, did you call them yet? You know, so that's a really great talent.
Now, when she puts them in command, does she put a task, the next task, such as, you know?
Yeah, so we have a smart plan for them. I love command and the smart plan. So they'll get the geo farming tool every month. They'll get that email.
The neighborhood nurture.
Yeah, and then they'll get a reminder for me to call them.
Awesome.
Love it. Yeah.
All right. So tracking.
Perfect answer, Orly.
Tracking is important on 224. Protecting your lead generation focus time. Also extremely important. How do we do that? There's many different ways, however it works for you. Some of us need to shut the door. Some of us need a person to tell us, no, sit in there and shut the door for you. Mostly though, if it's not in your schedule, if it's on your calendar, it doesn't exist. And in today's world, a lot of us are using electronic calendars because of our Zoom link. So I just advise a lot of people set up a Google Calendar so that you know where you're supposed to be at all times. It will give you a reminder on your phone, like prepare for lead gen time, get your water, talk to God. I mean, if you put it in your calendar.
Not in that order.
no, talk to God first. So protecting your time. And then on 226, weighing your options. The process of discovering what works and what doesn't work for you. Well, if you're not tracking where your deals are coming from, if you're not tracking where your leads or even your contacts, people who are answering the phone and entertaining some dialogue with you, then you can't know what's working.
Yeah. You know, important versus urgent. I go back to that all the time because we so get sucked into the urgent and the important gets put to the side or later, and then you're tired, low energy, whatever.
So even with that, Patty makes a good point. We have to decide, is it important? Some things are important and urgent. House on fire, you know, someone in it, important and urgent. Some things are important and we can get to it a little bit later. Some things are urgent, but they're really not important. Somebody else could be doing it, or we could just not do it at all. And so measuring that for us, for ourselves, is important so that we know what we're doing. 228, listings. 5, knowing the minimum number of seller listings that you must list each month. Well, that goes back to having an economic model and a business plan. Right. And that's a real easy one to track. Did you get a listing? Did you go on listing appointments? When we work backwards, we know, okay, I have to go on 3 listing appointments to get 1 listing. I have to go on 2 to get 1. So now you hold yourself accountable to how many appointments do I need to be on a week in order to get the listings. So that one's a real easy one. And I love when I talk to people and I say, okay, so how many appointments did you go on this week? None. Okay, well, what are we expecting? Are we expecting to do business? If we didn't even go on 1 appointment, what are we doing? You know, going to class, setting up a website, what are we doing?
And in the appreciating market, getting that appointment, circling back to your point, do you know what your house is worth right now? Let me do a market analysis for you.
It's the easiest appointment you can set. And to Orly's point, these people are not thinking until 2 years. Hey, we know that 223 might dip a bit.
I always say I have to eat next year too.
Yeah. And the year after, and the year after.
Exactly.
But in 2023, it might dip. So in 2022, if we start to see those signs, Orly has a relationship with them, she's calling them regularly, she might have that listing in 12 months instead of 24.
And that's why when I say, you know, people say, you know, how do you get these listings? And I would say 90% of them are come list me calls. But they're come list me calls because of seeds that I planted years ago. They're not
I
just,
hear you all the time say that you did a CMA for this one or CMA. How many CMAs did you do? So in your mind, you don't even look at it as like seller appointments. I think you're measuring like, I know I'm good if I did X amount of CMAs a month.
right. I need to do 6 a week. That's my
6 CMAs a week. Wow.
and Monday through Friday. So I rarely work weekends now. I mean, maybe if they really have to see me on a Saturday, I'll go out and I'm happy to do it. But I have my Fridays and my weekends. And, you know, my goal this month was 15 listings and boo-hoo, I only got 10. But
okay.
So you work
have 4 days,
5
5 days left.
4.5. I work 4.5 days a week, pretty much.
Good for you, Orly. You've earned it.
So when you have listings, you have the leverage, and this is the prime example. Okay, listing the minimum number each month, and she just said she knew what her number needed to be. She knows how many CMAs she needs to be on, and
Insistence.
What'd you say?
Insistence on page 229.
Mm-hmm.
Down at the bottom, insistence on insisting. That's such a strong word.
Absolutely.
On hitting their goal.
Insistence. Do we live with insistence on things? That's a good question. Winning is a habit. It is a habit. Okay. 7, getting sellers to accept the team concept. Orly, how have you done with that?
That's so easy. But it's not easy in the beginning because you're not used to having a team yet in the beginning. But once you're used to having a team and it's your mindset, you get to the point where people actually call me and say things like, I can't believe you answered the phone. Can somebody from your team come and give me a market analysis? I go, oh, that would be me. Oh, you're going to come out? So when you believe it and you market yourself that way, the public believes it and accepts it. And they just understand that this is the way you do business. So in my listing appointment, I actually go through what each team member does. And I tell them, they do what they do better than I could ever do it for you. I don't take good pictures. I'm not good at marketing. I'm not good at this. I have specialty people. I have people who specialize in all of those things, which is a benefit to you. But I'm the captain of the ship and I will always be here for you.
Orly, let me ask a question. If a transaction runs into a problem, different market, but let's say the house has been on the market and it's not selling, it's time for a price reduction. They're difficult, they don't realize it. Do you step in or do you leave that to your listing specialist?
That's a very good question. In that kind of a market, which God knows I've been in many times, so my admin will call for feedback after the weekend. After the weekend, they call for feedback. So they're talking to the client, letting them know by email or whatever what the feedback has been. I touch base with them every 2 weeks and they know when I list their house, I tell them, someone from my team, we will be communicating with you weekly. However, trust me, when you hear from me, it will be one of 2 reasons. We will either be discussing a price adjustment or an offer. So that's when they'll hear from me, and I train them for that from the beginning. So yes, when it gets a little dicey or they hear their voice getting a little nervous, what are you guys doing for me? Because, you know, it's always us when the house is not selling. It's not the market. It's not the price. That's when they'll nudge me. My admin will nudge me and say, they need to hear from you. They need to hear your voice.
Yeah. But it's setting the expectation and selling the benefit on the team members. We're going to get into leverage next week a little bit more. But on listings, the last one is 8, consistently marketing your seller listings for more leads. In today's market, Orly, what are some things that you're doing because the listings are going so fast?
Yeah, you miss opportunities.
Yeah. Where are you finding the opportunity in a listing sold?
So the first opportunity is right before we launch it. I do a Facebook Live at the house. So my pattern is I do a little bit of a market update. I give them a little bit of a glimpse of the house, let them know it's coming on the market, and that's when the marketing begins. Obviously, social media, Facebook ads.
We like.
So we're already getting the word out. Obviously, Zillow and all the internet calls, calling our buyers. So the buyer's agents get on the phone immediately and call our buyers, reverse prospecting. This house just came on the market. Hurry, because by the time I get phone calls all the time, a week later, and it's like, it's gone. We had a bidding war. So, and then postcards. We do postcards for each and every of our listings, the just listed and the just solds.
Do you get the just listeds out before?
You know what? It's hard, but it doesn't matter because postcards are geared for sellers anyway. So I don't care. I'm not looking. Am I looking to sell that house in this market? It's gone. It's gone in 3 days. But
yeah, I know.
Action out of it. I want to show other sellers in that neighborhood what I'm doing and the results I'm getting. So
let me challenge you a little bit, Orly, and it might be my own hang up, my own drunk monkey. But if a house is already under contract and I, as a consumer, get a just listed postcard and I see on the sign under contract, I have mixed feelings on that. I'm like, well, why didn't I get this postcard sooner?
So my head though is going, it's sold already. Like I just got the card. Okay. And maybe I get annoyed and I call you and I say, Orly, why would you not send this to me sooner? And Orly would say,
yeah. So Patty, I just, first of all, I don't even think about that because I've done my job for my seller. However, my conversation with that client is, if you want to be on my VIP list for the next house that comes on the market, all of our loyal buyers get the heads up before we list it. Would you like to be on that list?
Yeah, you know what? And I love that, Orly. And what you may also, because it's the buyers, it's the consumer who doesn't call you. That's in my head.
Yeah.
You would have called. So just a thought, maybe on that under contract, you go out and you buy a whole bunch of numbers.
Well, you know what? I don't put
under contract 3 days.
But to that point, Patty, our under contracts don't go up until about at least 10 days after. Because I want to make sure that they're out of attorney review. I want to make sure that everything is solid.
Under contract.
At that point, it kind of works in conjunction. So
okay, all right. I feel better. Thanks.
So do you think, I do once again think that there is an opportunity for calling into the neighborhood and really trying to get that message out face to face or on the phone to those neighbors to let them know here is what happened. Right. You may have seen it gone really fast, and this is why. And who else do you know that's looking to sell?
Or better than that, think something like, my dialogue is usually, we had 8 offers on that house, which means there are 7 buyers that love your neighborhood. Do you know anybody that would want to reap the benefits of this market and perhaps get $30,000 to $50,000 more today than they would have 18 months ago, or perhaps 18 months from now?
Yeah, that's a good one. I love your nail polish.
Oh, thank you. Hey, this nail polish got us a listing.
Getting
the nails done. The guy was yelling at me. I said, please stop yelling at me. So we got into a conversation and he said, oh, what do you do? I said, I sell real estate and I'm a broker and it's Saturday morning, let's just chill. And he said, oh, you could sell my house. So we're selling his house.
I love it.
But that's how easy business is if you just tell people what you do and you're not afraid to strike up conversation with people.
No,
but if you're
own it,
purposefully going out there, as we just kind of reviewed here, listings and leads is the main first 2 pillars in netting $1 million. So we just went through 217 to 233 in the book. Next week we do 233 to 249, which is the leverage part of netting $1 million. So we'll be talking more about the people and the systems. And I would just encourage everybody who is saying, but it's really challenging to go get a listing right now. We are selling more homes than we have been in the previous 12 months. So the fact is more listings have come on the market. Mm-hmm. And, the general consensus is, well, agents that are listing agents get yourself in the game.
Yep.
Are you
Yep.
truly doing everything you can to go get listings?
Stop
Or are we
complaining,
sitting back
Rita.
and complaining, right?
Good
Pick up
point.
the phone.
Very good point.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, have a awesome,
Paula Clark just came on. Hey, Paula.
Hi, Paula. Hello, goodbye.
Hello, goodbye. Have an awesome Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy. Hey,
Fine
take
time.
care of you.
Yep.
No, you take care of
I'm
you.
gonna tell her I stole it this
Yeah.
morning. Take
Yeah.
care of you.
I totally take care of me.
I just got my Peloton, ladies, so I'm really
I wanted
excited.
to ask you,
Excellent.
Just came
have you
yesterday.
figured out how to use it?
No, not yet. I
Okay,
had
all
Bible
right.
study last night, so we're here at 8 o'clock. All right, guys. Have a good week. I'll see you next week.
Thank you. You know what I wanted to